Looks like it's live on Facebook from what I can see on my end, JD.
Same here.
So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and since it looks like we're live on Facebook and we have a quorum, I believe all the council members here. We're gonna go ahead and call the Monday, January 4th City Council meeting with a record of attendance, please, Rhonda.
Birch,
Here.
Sparks,
Here.
Self,
Here.
Evans,
Here.
Settles,
Here.
Meredith,
Here.
Hey,
Williams.
how you doing?
Here.
Thank you. Brian, would you open with the prayer, and Brandon, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Lord, we thank you for this day. Lord, we do come to you tonight and just ask for your guidance as we make these decisions for the city, Lord, and we continue to pray for our community, for our healthcare givers, for our state, for our country. Lord, we pray for this whole situation that things will continue to turn to the positive. I ask that you would be with those families that have lost ones and those that are sick and in need. I ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item of business would be the approval of city council minutes for the regular council minutes on December 7th and special council minutes on December 14th. Chair to entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
Was that Brandon and Karen?
Yes.
Been a motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The next item of business will be on the regular agenda is second reading and consideration of Bill 6213, the change in excessive strength charge fees for commercial or industrial users for wastewater collection. The chair will entertain a motion for a second reading.
Motion made.
Second.
Been a motion made by Brian Self and a second by Nethia Williams. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Tabitha, would you read that, please?
Bill number 6213 as adopted shall become ordinance number 6213, amending determination of rates for excessive strength charge fees for commercial or industrial users for wastewater collection. Whereas the current ordinance is outdated and the determination of rate does not represent the actual cost for excessive sewer discharges of strength and total suspended solids, hereinafter TSS. And whereas the purpose of the surcharge rate is to deter excessive sewer charges that disrupt the sewer plant and to reimburse the utility for this disruption. And whereas the excessive strength and total suspended solids can and does overload the sewer plant as well as rob the city of future growth. And whereas in addition to raising the strength and TSS surcharges, this ordinance adds a strength multiplier for excessive strengths and also allows for this rate to be changed based on annual's cost without a total ordinance change. And whereas the strength multiplier accounts for replacement and upgrade costs associated with high strength discharges, if proper pre-treatment is performed by the industries, they do not have to pay these surcharges. Now therefore be it ordained by the council of the city of Sikeston, Missouri as follows. This bill includes sections 1 through 5, all of their parts and subparts, and it's read the second time the 4th day of January 2021 and discussed and voted as follows.
Thank you, Tabitha. I think Jeff Wenders is here from the Board of Municipal Utilities to give us some further clarification. And Jeff, you're on mute button. There you go. So Jeff, as I recall, it's been quite some time since we had the first discussion, and then there was some further conversations had with some of the large industry in town. So can you bring us up to speed, please?
Yes, when we originally started doing this early last year, I talked to all the industries that would be affected by this. After the article in the newspaper, after the last one, we did receive a couple of questions. One of those large industries did question how we calculated that rate and had some other questions on to Waters and Associates, who was our engineer that helped us write this and kind of bring it in line with what's current. We did satisfy them, and that industry did contact me and thank me for answering their questions and say they understood, and while they don't like the fact they're getting a surcharge, they do understand it, and we are moving forward.
So there's nothing about the calculations or the formulas that's changed as presented since the first reading?
Correct. Everything has changed. One clarification from that I've had in the community of people talking to me, this is not a rate increase for everybody. This affects mainly industries that would discharge a high oxygen. Basically, their waste strength is higher than what would come from a house. And when they discharge, we have those high strengths. We have to do extra stuff at the wastewater plant. And this is to reimburse us for those potential extra treatments we have to do to meet our permit.
Does anybody have any other questions for Jeff? Is there a motion on the floor?
Make a motion, we pass Bill 6213.
Second.
Motion made by Brian Self and seconded by Ryan Meredith. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing and hearing none. Roll call, please, Rhonda.
Sparks,
Yes.
Self. Self,
I could see his lips moving, but I couldn't hear him. Brian, what did you say?
Yes.
thank you. Evans,
Yes.
Settles,
Yes.
Meredith,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
and Birch.
Yes. Thank you. The next item of business is the acceptance of a donation of property on 131 North New Madrid Street presented by Karen Bailey.
We have leased 131 North New Madrid Street since 2013. That's where we have our municipal court hearings. And that lease, when it expired, I reached out to David Strom, and he indicated that Matthew of the Moore family would be willing to donate that building to the city of Sikeston. Back in September, we discussed this in executive session, and council was in favor of accepting it. This will just make the reception of the property official for council to vote to receive the property. Any questions?
Any questions from anybody? Is there, the chair would entertain a motion for the acceptance of property on 131 North New Madrid, which, if y'all couldn't hear Karen because it was kind of light, that is the city municipal court building for those Facebook listeners out there. And it's being donated to the city by the current owners.
I make a motion, we approve the donation of 131 North New Madrid Street.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Brandon Sparks and seconded by both Karen Evans and Ryan Meredith. Any discussion on that motion? Apparently I've jumped around on the agenda. Hey, seeing no further discussion on that motion, roll call, please, Rhonda.
Evans,
yes,
Settles,
Yes.
Meredith,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Birch,
Yes.
Sparks,
Yes.
and Self.
Yes.
So we'll move back up to item B, which was the appointment to the SEMO University Sikeston Advisory Council, which will be presented by Rhonda Council.
Yes. Back in September, we appointed Timothy Greenway to the SEMO Advisory Council, and he sent a letter to us indicating that he could not serve on this board because of work obligations. So I'm asking council to appoint someone in his place. And right now we have two people in our resource bank app. We have a Christina King and a Lori Caldwell. And as far as I know, there are no special requirements for this board.
Are the motions on the floor?
I make a motion that we appoint Lori Caldwell.
A second.
There's been a motion made by Nethia Williams and seconded by Brian Self to, was that Lori? I don't have that in front of me. Lori Caldwell, is that right?
Yes.
Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call, please, Rhonda.
Settles,
Yes.
Meredith,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Birch,
Yes.
Sparks,
Yes.
Self,
Yes.
Evans.
yes,
Thank you. I believe the next item would be the discussion of tournament staffing needs. That would be Dustin Kerr, and I'm assuming he's talking about, well, we'll find out what tournaments he's talking about.
Good evening, council. Here to discuss, request additional staffing for the recreation complex during weekend tournament play. As you may know from last year, we hosted 9 tournaments out of the complex due to other communities, cities, and states having shut down due to COVID. We became a hotspot for tournament play here. And we, as a staff, were not equipped to handle that many tournaments. We already had about 3 or 4 on the book scheduled, but like I said, due to other places' restrictions, we attracted a lot of teams from all over the region. And so I'm here today to ask for 11 new part-time / seasonal positions. These positions include 6 ball field maintenance workers. Their job duties would be maintenance, any kind of maintenance issues required on the field, rechalking, fixing batters boxes, filling in pitching mound holes. Predominantly their work will be done on Saturday evenings after games have ended, tentatively scheduled from like 8 p.m. to midnight, somewhere in there. That would require 6 people, depending on how many fields are going on. And then we would need 2 complex cleanup crew members. They would be in charge of like trash. Obviously, with as many teams and visitors that we had, there's a lot of trash, not only in barrels that need to be emptied, but on the ground. And so we kind of would have a split shift there. They need to come in around 2 to 4 p.m. and work a couple hours, and then come back at night once the crowds start clearing out, which would enable the maintenance field people to get to focus, concentrate on the ball fields, and then have the trash people focus on the trash. And then also would request to have a tournament supervisor. Basically, they would just be kind of quality control. I was out there for predominantly most of the tournaments. There are a lot of issues that need tended to. And basically, they would kind of help take my spot in the sense that running off-site to get change for cash registers. Quarters are always a dire need, and as many as $1 bills. Any type of issues with participants or fans. We did have a few ejections last year, but nothing real major. But just to kind of be out there for quality control, any type of restrooms issues that may be above concession stand. If there's something leaking or a toilet's plunged to beyond just a plunger, there's plenty to do, and we just need more help on the weekends. And then attached is a spreadsheet that kind of identifies what our budget would look like. With the added staff positions at the top, if we were to add all of those positions, the salary cost would be about $14,286 as a projection. Our current revenue and expenditures is listed below that. Some of this would be projected, but we were averaging around $10,000 a weekend at the concession stands. So adding that and totaling up our staff and our concession supplies for resale, our net total would come around $31,768. And so we would be able to supplement the additional staffing needs out of our concessions revenue and still be left with the projected $17,000 in revenue that could be applied to other improvements at the complex. Last year we had teams coming from, like I mentioned, Missouri, Kentucky, Arkansas, Tennessee, Illinois, and Indiana. We've had teams travel as far as Chicago to come down here to plan to stay in Sikeston. The additional staff will be a great benefit to ensuring that these people will enjoy their time and want to come back and play tournaments here. And our department's grateful for the support of the city and being able to do this. This vision was laid out right as soon as I got here, if not before, and we're kind of fulfilling our vision in that. And these extra staffing positions would help substantially and improving the quality of customer service and ensuring safety.
Dustin, I did have a question. Last time we spoke about this, there was some conversation about there's a certain time of year when you contact these different communities or different teams and organizations about their tentative commitments to come to a tournament, so you have a better. When is that time frame? And
yeah,
if it's somewhere on down the road, I guess even though we approve up to a certain level, you could always adjust based on what tournaments you get booked.
We currently have 9 tournaments scheduled for this year already, starting off with the first weekend of May. So basically all of May, with the exception of the last weekend, and every weekend in June has a tournament right now. We also have one tournament that is in July as well at the moment. So we're already on the books for, I believe, 9 tournaments. Like I said, we do have an open spot at the end of May that could potentially be filled. And then even this past year, we held a tournament as late as September. So, but we do have the same tournament directors that were here last year already booked for this year.
Good job. I did not realize that. That's good work.
Thank you.
I make a motion that we approve these needs for the tournament staffing needs that Dustin's got.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Brian Self and seconded by Gerald and Brandon. Any discussion on the motion?
Good job. Good job, Dustin.
Thank you.
So with that said, see no further discussion, roll call, please. Rhonda?
Williams,
Yes.
Birch,
Yes.
Sparks,
Yes.
Self,
Yes.
Evans,
yes,
Settles,
Yes.
Meredith.
Yes.
I have it, Rhonda.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is the fuel pump replacement presented by Jay Lancaster.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and hello, everyone. This item is dealing with the fuel site that the city maintains over by Fire Station 1, which supplies gas and diesel to city vehicles. And we've been having some issues with them. It's a very old system, a very outdated system that we've been putting Band-Aids on for some years now. We did budget for replacement of the fuel pumps and main fuel lines for the gas and diesel pumps. We did put out bids for these and received 2 bids, one from Mid-South Steel Products and one from New Mayor. Both good, close bids. I do want to describe one thing that is a factor to just make sure you guys are fully aware. When we budgeted for this back in the spring, we were not aware of some issues with broken diesel lines. We knew that there were some issues that needed to be dealt with, but we didn't know the extent of the damage. When we actually put this out for bid after the budget had already been approved, in talking to Chief McMillan, we decided to add to this project not just the line replacement near the pumps, but we also have a line that supplies the generator for Fire Station 1. And it did not seem to make sense for us to replace some of the lines that had affected fuel and not also replace the line to the very important generator at the fire station. So we did add that to the scope of work of the project, which did make it exceed its original estimates. But the bids we got were $27,183 from Mid-South Steel. We're here from Cape, and then New Mayor's bid was $30,155.27. So both those bids are right in the nature of each other. We would like to move forward with the project, awarding the bid to Mid-South Steel Products for $27,183. This would be for replacing fuel pumps, fuel lines, and the fuel line that supplies the generator. It is a budgeted item. However, like I said, it did end up exceeding the budget of 21.3 because of things that were added that weren't known at the time. But the city manager felt this was important enough for me to go ahead and proceed. If we had known what we know now, the estimate that we would have budgeted would have reflected those overall needs.
Jay, it's been a while since I looked at those pumps out there. When you say here that the damaged fuel lines between the city and the BMU pumps, are these lines and pumps that you're talking about do they serve only the city, or is it a shared venture?
The lines I'm talking about just serve us.
Okay.
The BMU has not had the issues we have had we have investigated this for a long time over the last year. We did find out that we were getting some sort of debris into the diesel lines, and we did find out that we feel like it's believed by the people that did the inspections that we had some faults in the lines that would only affect us.
But although you all are in the same area, you have separate pumps.
We share tanks, but different lines go to different pumps. And Jeff's on the line if he needs to correct me. But BMU has had no issues with their fuel quality.
So you're regulating the charge based on which pump is pulling out gallons, whether it's a city pump or the BMU pump out of the same tank.
Correct. When it comes out of the tanks, there's a T, and one side comes to our pump and one side goes to your all's pump. And my understanding is the bookkeeper will send us, you all have used this many gallons, and that's a track. Anything you all don't use is obviously ours.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Make a motion to replace the fuel pump
Second.
lines.
Been a motion made by Brian self and seconded by Ryan Meredith. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call, please, Rhonda.
Settles,
Yes.
Meredith,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Birch,
Yes.
Parks,
Yes.
Self,
Yes.
and Evans.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item for Jay Lancaster as well is the authorization to proceed with the 2021 Street and Drainage Improvement Program. Jay?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know this is hard to do over Zoom, but I'll keep it brief. As you know from previous years, we do have a method to our madness and looking at this program, and we're constantly assessing the needs, both for street needs and for drainage concerns, living in a flat town like we do. We look at physical needs starting first. We try to be equitable and distribute projects over all 4 wards. We also try to distribute projects among different types of pavement preservation, looking into anything from crack sealing and seal coating to extend life of pavements to milling and overlay projects with asphalt to full concrete replacement and everything in between. So if you look at our list we provided, there are a number of projects we're looking at doing from, and I want to highlight just a few things. First thing I want to highlight is that if you look at the budget, you're going to see that that's exceeds what we would normally present. I will just tell you that at this point in time, we have some desire to seek some outside funding for some of these projects, at least on a couple of the larger ones. So we're going to go ahead and put these in here, hopeful that we can get some of this funding. But I wanted to go ahead and include them for now, and so that we could just be transparent on that. The other thing I wanted to bring out is, in addition to the normal milling and resurfacing that we try to do in different parts of town, also the ditch cleanouts we do in different parts of town, and also we're continuing the crack sealing and seal coating program that we started. That was very successful last year, and we're going to do some more of that this year. But the big difference this year that I wanted to just point out, that you'll see some things like Baker Lane mentioned. You'll see some things, some different streets that'll get into Kennedy and Baker, and maybe even the Greer, South Ranny type subject, is that our older concrete streets that were part of what we call the WPA program back in the 40s, were built solid, built great, great structural integrity, but they're all starting to crumble on us. And it seems like a lot of them are starting to all happen at one time. And so what we're going to start venturing in this year and continue it next year is we're going to start embarking on some methods on these concrete streets. We don't have the budgets to just go and replace every concrete street and tear it all out and replace it back with concrete. We just can't afford that. We'd only be able to do one street a year or two. But so in this, you see some concrete spot repair. I just want to let the council know that we've been talking to the local engineers. I even met with the Missouri Concrete Paving Association and trying to figure out some ways that we can do some methods, some experimental methods on some of these to achieve some smooth surfaces, some new surfaces on these older concrete roads. So we're going to try some different things to see what can get us the best benefit for the dollar. In some cases, we're going to have to replace them, but in some cases where it's just starting to get bad, we may try some new things like some diamond grinding or some other methods that hopefully achieve a great process or result. And we're working with MoDOT's pavement people on that as well. But yeah, these are what we want to present along with the engineers. And if anybody has any questions, we'll be glad to answer. But we'd like to move forward so we can get these planned for the summer. I'll also add that this did go before planning and zoning and was passed by them unanimously at their recent meeting.
I make a motion, we approve the 2021 street plan.
A second.
Guess I should have taken myself off mute. Sorry about that. So all that other conversation y'all didn't hear. There's been a motion made by Brandon Sparks and seconded by Brian Self. Any discussion on the motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to add one thing, if I may.
Certainly.
Not included in this list is something that I will be providing through the city manager to you. He may have already provided it. I'm not sure, JD. But in addition to this is mostly contracted work. We've also generated a list of about 80 pavement repairs, smaller pavement repairs that we are making all over town that we plan to do over the next several months. We've made kind of a list of those hot spots. You know, a lot of times when people say their street's bad, it may only come down to one spot or two. And we have been going around while school was out for Christmas, we worked on Lindenwood over by the junior high. And if you've been around there, you know around those manholes, there were some bad bumps. But our staff internally, in addition to all of this, is making 70 to 80 repairs over the next several months to also help other areas that are in trouble. So just wanted to let you know, if you don't see your concern on the list, it may be on our other list.
Any further discussion on this motion? Any questions or further discussion? See none, roll call, please, Rhonda.
Birch,
Yes.
Sparks,
Yes.
Self,
Yes.
Evans,
yes,
Settles,
Yes.
Meredith,
Yes.
and Williams.
yes.
Thank you. Next item is the presentation of the 24-month extension of Unilever option of North Industrial Park. JD, would you please explain?
Yes, back in December of 2017, the city and Unilever executed a land swap, so to speak. They had vacated their south plant on County Line Road and moved those operations all up to the north plant. And they were desirous of obtaining, it's about 16 or 17 acres just south of their north plant. So 16 acres of our land on Rose Parkway. And what we did is we traded the south plant property was given to the city, and Unilever was given an option to acquire those 16.85 acres adjacent to their north plant. That was a 3-year option with an extension, a possible extension for an additional 2 years. And we have reached the point where they need to extend that for 2 more years. And they are desirous to do that at this point. So we're asking the council to approve extending that option by 2 years.
And I can add to that, I believe the Economic Development Corporation that was involved with JD on all that process, and we've talked to them numerous times. We're very desirous that Unilever maintains that option, because if they need to grow or add warehousing or do anything out there, if I recall, JD, it's really the only direction they can do anything out there. They have, I believe they're kind of landlocked to the north and east and west. So south is about the only direction they can go. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah, so they need to reserve that option. And with everything going on, they ran right up to the deadline on this extension, but it's something we feel strongly that we need to help them out with. So the chair would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
second,
A motion made and second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call, please, Rhonda.
Sparks,
Yes.
Self,
Yes.
Evans,
yes,
Settles,
Yes.
Meredith,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
and Birch.
Yes. Thank you. JD, we're on to other business. I just wanted to say on one item on our other business is recently the council asked that we participate in cooperation with some of the local healthcare providers, businesses, and the chamber in just an educational program, not a mandate, not any kind of ordinances, but just an educational program to ask the community to join in on a Wear Because We Care masking up campaign to help slow the spread of COVID and give some relief to the hospital and protect our families and our employees. That's gotten some pretty good communication around town. It's had a lot of coverage on social media. I would just ask you all that can to share those posts and just continue to get the word out. I was talking to some of the folks that are involved in that campaign earlier this afternoon, and they just talk like, for the next 2 or 3 weeks, they're just going to continue to reach out to businesses And they've had a lot of businesses call in to them and ask how they could get involved in it because they want to participate in the educational program. So they're going to continue the social media efforts for the next 2 or 3 weeks while things are still a little hot out there, if you will. And if you all can just share those posts so that we can help spread the word. JD, did you have any other business?
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to ask you to entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session under the property exemption, which is section 620.021.2 of the revised Missouri statutes.
Okay, the chair would entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Been a motion made by Brandon and seconded by Ryan and others. All those in favor, do we need a roll call, Tabitha, or is it? I can't hear you.
Excuse me?
Roll call.
Okay,
Yes.
roll call, please, Rhonda.
Self,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Settles,
Yes.
Meredith,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Birch,
Yes.
and Sparks.
Yes.
All right, thank you all for joining us. We'll be disconnecting the live on Facebook, and as soon as we get disconnected from that, we'll continue on with the property discussion. Thank you very much.